Wow, that was eventful, people. Arsenal have just beaten Wolves 1-0 at Molineux, and in the process, we have made a step forward in our push for the top four. Sure, still 16 games to go for Arsenal this season, a lot of football to be played, but tonight felt huge given the fact this week Manchester United dropped points, they drew with Burnley, Tottenham lost to Southampton. It was the moment, you sensed it was the moment that Arsenal needed to stake their claim to really say, yes, we mean business this year. If our rivals slip up, we're going to take advantage. And Arsenal did just that. As per usual, as per the script in 2022, it wasn't easy for Arsenal. We did make it slightly difficult for ourselves. Obviously, Gabriel Martinelli got sent off just after the hour mark on about 68 minutes for an unusual sending off, it has to be said. So he pushes the Wolves player on in the Wolves half just as they take a throw in, and then he proceeds to then track the Wolves runner as Wolves break away with the ball, and then fouls the Wolves player, and the referee gives Martinelli 2 yellow cards. So he didn't halt the play for the first offence, the push, allowed Wolves to play on the advantage. Martinelli then fouls the Wolves attacker and gets booked for a second time. So it's the second time, two bookings in the same sequence, and Martinelli is red carded. So a little bit unusual. But once again, Arsenal were able to regroup. And that was the impressive part. Again, Arteta, when Arsenal go down to 10 men, which is becoming an ever-increasing trend of late, Arteta likes to shore things up by bringing on a third central defender, and he did just that with Rob Holding coming on for Bukayo Saka. And Holding helped. He played very well. He put in a number of good clearances. Wolves were putting the pressure on Arsenal, but the Gunners' back line stood firm and were able to just hold off the Wolves' attacks as they were coming. It was a strange match. It was a game of two halves. I thought Arsenal were far the better team in the first half. Controlled possession, created some good chances. There was one in particular that I liked with Saka doing some intricate footwork on the inside right channel, played a lovely 1-2 with Martin Odegaard, and then Saka cut back a well-weighted pass for the onrushing Lacazette, who had a chance, but ultimately hit it straight at the goalkeeper. You felt either side, it would have been a goal because he got good contact on the ball. That was Arsenal's best moment, and it came after Arsenal scored their goal, which was put away by Gabriel, the central defender. Excellent anticipation from Gabriel after a ricochet in the box following a corner. Gabriel steers it home from about 2 metres. So Arsenal played excellently in the first half. I thought were good value for that lead and were showing great intention to come to Molineux and really throw the gauntlet down to Wolves, who themselves have been having a great season. They sit in 8th place and they've been keeping in touch in this top 6, top 4 race. But today obviously is a dent to their hopes. But Wolves had been coming into this game in good form. They were unbeaten in 2022, the only Premier League team to have registered 100% points return. So they'd won every game so far this year. Arsenal came with belief. They didn't let that intimidating record from their opponent's side influence how they approached the game. Arsenal got on the front foot. However, I thought in the second half, Arsenal started playing games a little bit. We went away from what we were doing in the first half, which had been positive attacking football, looking to create openings and score goals, to all of a sudden, Arsenal went into protection mode, game management mode, and almost was starting to take some liberties with time wasting, with maybe players going over and exaggerating injuries. And I didn't think this was a good tactic for 2 reasons, maybe even 3 reasons. The first one, it got the Wolves crowd very agitated, and it created a bit of a us against them vibe in the stadium, where Wolves then started, the supporters started really getting on Arsenal's back and giving them a little bit of stick. And I think as a result, Arsenal lost a bit of their rhythm. They lost their flow. I think that was a big reason. So the second thing I didn't think helped Arsenal in terms of their tactics in that second half was it broke their own style of play. So what Arsenal had been doing, they'd been looking to, as I mentioned, get on the front foot. But in the second half, retreating into their shells, maybe time wasting a bit. I asked myself why, because Arsenal were actually playing the better of the two teams in the first half. Why break your own rhythm with these games? And the third thing it did, it just spiked the patience of the referee. And you could see before Martinelli got red carded that the referee was getting a little bit impatient with Arsenal. He was giving them yellow cards. Gabriel, the goal scorer, was yellow carded for time wasting. And you just sensed that the ref was starting to lose patience with Arsenal. So it didn't come as a surprise that he gave that controversial red card for the 2 yellows, because you felt he was like, come on, Arsenal taking liberties here. At the first opportunity I get, I'm going to make a bit of a statement about this. And he did. So I think Arsenal can learn from that. If they really look at this properly in terms of how can we better manage that situation of the first 20 minutes of the first half to avoid potentially digging ourselves into a hole, I think the biggest takeaway Mikel Arteta needs to take from this is when we get in front 1-0, don't go on the back foot, don't retreat, don't get away from what we've been doing well to build the lead in the first place, because it felt a little bit like Arsenal almost didn't believe they could go on and get more goals when in fact they could, because they had been playing the better of the two teams. So I think from that point of view, Arsenal need to reflect and think, you know what, we belong here. We can beat Wolves 2-0. We can beat Wolves 3-0. We're better than Wolves. And I think that's what Arsenal need to take going forward. And another thing that I really liked, though, about Arsenal tonight was their team spirit, their togetherness. They were very much singing from the same hymn sheet. There was a lot of congratulating on the part of the teammates. So when a teammate did a good clearance, there'd be a high five, there'd be a little chest punch, there'd be a general fervour when Arsenal did a good action in the game. And also at the full-time whistle, you could see a good togetherness on the bench. Mikel Arteta and his staff were really charged up. You saw a nice embrace between the captain Lacazette and Mikel Arteta after the game, and you feel like, yeah, Arsenal can really build and push on from this. We're up to 5th in the league table, so we've leapfrogged Manchester United, and we have a game in hand on Manchester United. So we're on 39 points, having played one game fewer than Manchester United, who are also on 39 points. West Ham, I believe, are 1 point ahead of Arsenal, having played 2 games more. So Arsenal are now in the box seat, if you can have a box seat at this stage of the season, given the fluctuations. But Arsenal seem to be the front runner at this moment in time for that top 4 race. But hey, there's so much football to be played. And Arsenal, the last thing they want to do is get ahead of themselves and start looking at the league table. Arsenal need to keep focused. I also think the fixture list is somewhat kind to Arsenal now. Again, it's a physical exertion Arsenal have expended tonight, playing for 25 minutes with 10 men. But we've got a weekend off because Chelsea are playing in the World Championships, because they won the Champions League last year. Arsenal were scheduled to play Chelsea this weekend. That game is now postponed because Chelsea are away in this other competition. So Arsenal have got a weekend off, and then the following weekend we play Brentford at home, and then Thursday after that, so 2 weeks today, Arsenal play Wolves again in the game that had been postponed from the 28th of December, just after Christmas, because of COVID cases in the Wolves camp. So Arsenal got just 2 games coming up in the next 14 days and no game this weekend. So it gives Arsenal a chance to refresh their resources, again, recover. This is a big theme for Arsenal. In the games we played in 2022, 4 of the 6, I believe, Arsenal have picked up a red card. It doesn't help, obviously, because you're hamstrung within the game, you're at a numerical disadvantage, but you add to that the fact that you're actually running more because the 10 guys on the field have to do far much more work because of the one person fewer that is on the field. So Arsenal, the fixture list maybe has been kind to them this time, gives them an opportunity to rest the players. So how does 2022 look now? I think January was obviously disappointing. Arsenal didn't win a game. They scored 1 goal in January and were knocked out of 2 competitions, the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. So Arsenal had this break, the 2-week break, because as we mentioned, they were knocked out of the FA Cup. So that meant they didn't play last weekend. And the weekend prior to that was an international break. So Arsenal had an opportunity in those 2 weeks to freshen up. We went away to Dubai on a mid-season training camp / team building getaway. And that's very much what it looked like. I was watching the Arsenal YouTube channel, and I saw some clips of the training sessions, and it looked quite light. It looked more related to building that team spirit. There were a lot of games, a lot of competitions, and I heard a little anecdote of Arteta just saying to the guys as they were about to do this little game on the pitch, like this keepy-uppy thing with the football. He said, "Okay, guys, the loser of this game has to buy everyone breakfast at London Colney on the second day back from the trip." So it was that kind of vibe, just a bit of team building. Listening to Jack Wilshere, former Arsenal player, on the radio, he was saying how the guys had a bit of freedom after they trained out in Dubai. They trained in the morning and then they'd go away and play a bit of golf, go shopping, have a bit of time to just bond. And I think I kind of had two thoughts about that. My initial thought was, are they training hard enough? Do they need to be like focused on the pitch, really working hard? But then I thought, you know what? Arsenal were knackered in January. You could really see how the physical exertions of those matches they played with 10 men, the mental lull, the mental deflation effect that would have happened from getting knocked out of two competitions would have really hit Arsenal hard. And maybe this team bonding, the slightly less intense 6 days in Dubai, a little bit of golf, light training, recuperating, might have just been what was needed, giving Mikel Arteta a chance to connect with the squad, to see how the guys are in terms of injuries, to treat any people with little knocks. So I think the Dubai trip served a purpose, and I think the tone and the purpose of the trip was just about spot on, not to overdo it. No need to really absolutely flog the guys in training. I thought it was probably a smart call from the coaching team to just say, look, let's just take the foot off the gas and have a lighter training week. And Arsenal looked buoyed, they looked refreshed, recharged, and they picked up a positive result tonight. So that's all Arsenal can do now. We've got 16 games left, no other distractions. It's all about the Premier League. It's all about top four. How good would it be if Arsenal landed the top four? It would be a game changer for this Mikel Arteta project. It would enable Arsenal to attract big name players in the summer transfer window. It will enable Arsenal to keep their existing talented players who may have their head turned by other teams who qualify for the Champions League should Arsenal not finish fourth. So finishing fourth this season is important. It's not be all and end all, but it is a big deal. If Arsenal can get over the line and finish fourth, it just keeps this project buoyed. It keeps the momentum up. It keeps people's sense of progression. The perspective would be that Arsenal are moving forward, and I think that's all Arsenal can go for this year. It's going to be tight, but Tottenham and Man United are proving fallible. They've dropped points this week, as we've mentioned. There are issues in Manchester United with the coaching staff, potentially with the relationships there, and yeah, I feel as if Arsenal can keep this form together, maintain the discipline, they're going to have to cut out these red cards. This is a big deal now. They cannot afford to be playing many more games with 10 men, especially against your Manchester Uniteds, your Chelseas, your Liverpools, your Tottenhams. You've got to keep 11 players on that pitch to have a puncher's chance to really compete in this competition, because it's a tough league. So Arsenal, well done tonight. Well-earned 3 points, but lessons need to be learned. For me, the biggest ones are about how do you play when you're in front? When you've got a 1-0 lead, don't lose sight of the game plan. Maintain aggression, maintain intentionality and purpose in terms of going for more goals. And the second thing is perhaps not riling up the referee with silliness. Don't get silly on the pitch, because there's nothing. Referees don't like players losing their discipline or messing around with the tempo of the game. So you've got to stay professional on the pitch. And I think those are the two biggest takeaways Arsenal need to use from this match. Because moving forward, they've got a chance at top four. So let's see how things go from here on in. 10 days off, and then it's Brentford. Okay, guys, as always, leave your thoughts. I'll be interested to hear what you thought of the game. Who are your standout players? In terms of that, I think Cedric Suarez had a very good game at right back. stepping in. I thought it was his best game in an Arsenal shirt that I can remember. I also thought Granit Xhaka was very good today. Excellent. His use of the ball, his passing, moving it through the thirds. He was playing a lot of forward passes. I was impressed with Granit Xhaka today. Two players who maybe, for whatever reason, haven't had great seasons or aren't the most popular players at Arsenal amongst the fan base, but they stepped up today. They were both pretty good. I mentioned Holding. Ben White was also solid. Gabriel, the goal scorer. So there were some good performances, and Aaron Ramsdale was superb, back to his best with some fine saves and his cheerleading of the team, occasionally like diving on the ball and slowing it down, little tactics there. So I like that from Ramsdale. You don't want to overdo it, like I said, with that sort of stuff, because it does prick up the attention of the referee, but within reason. I think Ramsdale strikes the right balance with that. Okay, people, hope you like the video. As always, leave your thoughts, and I'll be back with more Arsenal content, and have a wonderful day. And as always, guys, stay safe. Peace.